The Commentary Booth is a show for media lovers by media lovers just like you. If you want to support the show, go to jamiapsmedia.com. Welcome to The Commentary Booth, the ultimate weekly entertainment recap and review show. My name is Jamie Apps, and each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of co-hosts to run you through the entertainment media we've consumed during the week. Along the way, we'll provide you with insightful commentary and reviews. This week I'm joined by a teacher who lists her favourite movie as the entire Harry Potter series and favourite TV show as Parks and Rec. Welcome back to the show, Leigh Poulton.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. How's the moving going?
Oh, it's going. I think we've done most of the things at the moment, so it's now just about waiting for the removalist and getting it done. So yeah, lucky we got removalist this time. Last time my husband and I almost divorced over our move, but hopefully this time we're all good.
Yeah, I think it's almost worth just copying whatever it costs to get removalist, just so you don't have to worry about it yourself, because it's such a nightmare.
100%. I don't care about the money, just get someone to do all the hard stuff. I think last time I carried everything and it got to the point where my arms couldn't even lift anything anymore.
And then when you get there, like, you don't want to unpack everything, you just want to unbuggered stuff this.
Exactly. So we're a lot more prepped than last time we did it, so hopefully it won't be too bad. And we've got the right people in, so...
Everything's all just packed away now?
Yeah, so everything's packed. We've just got our wardrobes, obviously, and little tiny things.
That's all right.
Yeah.
At least this time, you won't be moving for a while. You won't be moving for a while now that you're actually buying something.
Yeah, we're homeowners now, so hopefully we're going to be stuck in one place.
Okay, I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, I know. We're like got a new local cafe and a new local walk, so we're like, oh, how nice.
Piper's going to get all confused, being like, where are we?
I know, she's already confused, like toilet training. She's just going to go out the window. I get it. Little darling, she's all right. What have you been up to?
What have I been up? Just been ridiculously busy with work because I've got our normal newspaper that's weekly, and then I work for another one that's monthly, so at the start of each month, they both sync up, which is a bit of a nightmare, but...
Right.
So yeah, it's the sync up week. They both go out next Thursday, so it's been a bit hectic.
Keep them busy. I know how that feels.
One of them is in Melbourne too, so it's been like super difficult to arrange interviews and cover photos and stuff, because it's like
it would.
People can't leave.
Exactly. Lockdown, yeah. It's intense.
But we seem to have got there.
That's good. My brother's down there at the moment, like he lives down there. And he got another 3 weeks of lockdown, poor things.
Another 3 weeks if everything goes to plan.
That's exactly right. True.
They'd be absolutely hoping for get me out of here.
100%. We've been very lucky.
We're sort of almost back to normal, really.
I feel normal. Like, I haven't really missed out on much of what I was doing before, so it doesn't feel like we're in a pandemic at the moment, but...
No, there's a few, like, little weird restrictions, but I think it's all sort of stuff that is just kind of going to become normal.
Yes. Yeah, I think our new normal is happening.
Just wash your hands, don't stand right on top of each other, and if you're sick, stay home.
Cover your mouth when you cough.
I went to the movies on Saturday,
and
I actually didn't mind the restrictions that they have, because it means you're not going to get stuck next to some random person chomping away on food.
That's good. What are the restrictions at the movies? I haven't been.
So, obviously you have to, like, with everything, sign in so that they've got your details if there is a case.
Yeah.
But when you book your tickets, so if you buy however many, you can all sit together as a group, and it blocks out all the seats directly in front, behind, and to your left and right.
Oh, good.
So I just went by myself and I bought one seat and it blocked out the one in front, the one behind, and the two next to me. But then sort of people were sort of slightly diagonally from me, so I ended up having like 8 seats all around me just totally blocked out.
See, I prefer that. I think that's great.
Yeah, it was good. And also going in the middle of the day, there was hardly anyone there. I think for Unhinged, there was about 6 people in the cinema.
Right.
And then for Tenet, which had only just come out, there was maybe 12 people there. So it was pretty much had the whole cinema to myself.
See, I like that. I saw something about festivals the other day that was like that. Like you have your own area on the floor where you like can sit in your little like box and no one else can come into it.
Yeah, I saw that, the social distancing festival.
Yeah, I love that. I so want to be there.
I would go to those sort of festivals way more than I'd want to go to a regular festival.
100%. I don't want to get stuck between sweaty bodies
and
slide in and out of people and get trampled. I was like, that is the perfect festival for me.
And like not be able to see half the time because some giant dude decides he needs to be right at the front.
Yeah. I think there's going to be lots of changes that I'm actually going to like.
Yep.
After this. I hope so anyway.
So have you been checking anything out to sort of get you through moving to relax at the end of the day?
Yeah, I have. There's been like little things that I've been watching. So the biggest one is I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Have you seen it?
Yep.
Oh, it's amazing. Look, you know how much I love My Favorite Murder. Karen, the podcaster, was really good friends with Michelle McNamara, who wrote the book on the Golden State Killer. And obviously it's very relevant at the moment because he's on trial. He
was just convicted.
Yeah, he was just convicted, and all his victims were doing their victim statements last week, so I was very caught up in that. And it's just like the documentary was really beautiful. It did a lot of credit to everyone involved. So have you've seen it?
Yeah, I binged through it in like a day and a half.
Yeah.
6 parts.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, that guy is sick. Like anyway. I heard about it first on My Favorite Murder because Karen was great friends with Michelle McNamara, who wrote the book.
Yep.
And obviously, like, they did an episode on the Golden State Killer, and he was, like, reigning for, 45 plus years? And he was, like, never caught. Ages. And anyway, so obviously he started as the ransacker or whatever he's called, and he escalated to rape, and then he escalated to rape and murder. One of the creepy things was he used to tie up. So at first he was just doing lone females in their house.
Yeah, and then the risk wasn't enough, so he had to go after couples.
Yeah, he had to go after couples, and he used to tie the man up and put dinner plates on his back and said, if I hear the plates move, then I'll come back and murder you. So it's just like he just basically fed off fear is what I gathered from this whole thing. He just loved it. And just so interesting that he is just so evil and he got away with it for so long. Well, he's a cop.
Yeah, I think him being a cop definitely helped him be able to go for so long because he knew exactly where they were investigating, what was going on. So he was like, okay, I'll just calm down for a little bit or move to a different area. And
didn't they find like some sort of like evidence of him like in the sewers and stuff? Like he'd jump the fence and like go into the pipes and come out somewhere totally different. They took forever to catch him.
Yeah, the like stormwater.
Yeah, stormwater
drainage stuff, like the sort of open stormwater drains. You just run through those because obviously nobody's going to be looking in there.
Well, then one policeman stumbled across him at nighttime and he shot him, and just incredible, like what he got away with and for so long. And then Michelle McNamara, who wrote the book, was just so determined to bring crime against him, and she was just an amazing writer and woman, and then for her to lose her life before he got convicted is just so sad.
Such a shame that she didn't get to see the case being resolved after all the work she had put in. Like, she pretty much directed the police. Like,
that's right.
it's somebody in this area, and then that's when they started doing, and like she got the DNA testing and stuff, and then that led them to point them in the right direction.
Yeah, so like this is with a link, right? So my favorite murder, Karen knows Michelle. Michelle got onto Paul Holes, who is a detective. Well, he's retired now, but he was working on the Golden State Killer case underneath, like, very low key. Like, no one knew that he was kind of working on it. And he got in touch with Michelle McNamara, which is on the documentary. And he's like, look, you get people like this all the time that are armchair, like, detectives, and you just kind of, you don't really trust them. You don't really take their word for, like, how good they are at their job. And then he met Michelle and was like, wow, this is someone who knows her stuff, who has put countless hours in, and she was the one that suggested familiar DNA. And he went, right, so if we can get on Ancestry.com and all of those things, anyone who's related to the DNA of the killer, then we can try and track him down. And he talks about it on his podcast, The Murder Squad, which is really good. Anyone should recommend. That is like a thing to listen to. He talked about how he went through familiar DNA and like they had 5 suspects, and he narrowed it down to Joseph D'Angelo, who's the one they convicted. And they found his rubbish cup of a coffee, like, in his bin, and that's how they connected his DNA to the crimes, to the DNA at his house, and arrested him.
Yeah, I'm glad that they caught him. I just feel the way that they caught him, like, raises so many ethical issues.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but if you have nothing to hide, then I say go for it.
Yeah, true. It's just like, I can imagine there's a lot of people more wary about using sort of Ancestry.com and stuff because of that, being like, oh.
Yes, 100%. I do. I understand that. But
especially, like, it wasn't necessarily him. Like, he didn't put his stuff up there. It just happened to be somebody distantly related to him that then ended up pointing them towards him. Like, oh. And then, yeah, they snagged his DNA out of the rubbish.
How amazing, though, that they caught him. Like, he was literally an old man. Although, did you see, like, this week it came out, so when he went to trial, he pretended to be a feeble old man so people would feel sorry for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that where he was like...
And then they released footage of him in his cell climbing the walls.
Working out and stuff, yeah.
What an... Sorry, but my swearing, but seriously, I could never be so mad. What a manipulator.
I'm sure lots of people do, like, even like Harvey Weinstein, when he went through his court battle, like, every time he went to court, he was like in a wheelchair and looked like a cripple, basically.
Yeah, so people doubt it and go, oh, I doubt that he could be that. I doubt he could do those things. But he did. And they had, they didn't feature it on the documentary, but after all of his crimes, obviously he got a little bit older and he stopped doing what he was doing. But to get the joy out of it, he'd still call up his old victims and taunt them over the phone.
Yeah, just like absolute sicko.
He's just I just don't get it. Like a nasty, nasty human. They've already been through enough and he's still trying to taunt them.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was convicted of 8 counts of first-degree murder.
Yep.
13 kidnapping/abductions. But he couldn't be charged or convicted for any of the rape cases because of the statute of limitations. They were all outside the time that he could be charged. But he was sentenced to 12 life terms plus 8 years on top of that without parole.
Yeah.
So he's definitely never getting out.
Good.
He apparently admitted to he's been suspected of committing over 50 rapes, over 120 burglaries, and he basically said, like, yes, they were all me.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess the victims get some sort of closure out of knowing that, yes, it was definitely him, but...
Yeah. And I mean, look, I think it's amazing that every single victim was allowed to get up there and tell their own story with the victim impact statements. That's so powerful to try and, like, try and get everything out and say, this is how it affected me. That's so important to tell their own story. Because some of them didn't want to tell their story. And then they saw other victims coming out and they were like, okay, well, now I can be honest about it. Because it was happened in the 70s. And back then, if you were a victim of sexual assault, it was just seen as like you asked for it.
Yeah, they sort of dive into that in the doco series, that basically that at that time it was like, oh, what was she wearing? What was she doing? Why was she here? It's like,
yeah,
they were at home. Like, he went into their house.
Exactly. Here's the problem, not her.
Thankfully, society is a lot better at dealing with that now. We don't instantly blame the victim anymore.
Yes. I mean, there is times that, like, I know when, Eurydice Dixon down in Melbourne, when she got murdered, one of the police chiefs said, women need to know that they can't go out at night. They can't go out at night by themselves at 8 p.m. And I remember saying, like, everyone put a big stink up saying, why can't women just be able to do what they want? Why don't we teach our men not to rape?
8 o'clock, like, she's probably finished work, gone out for dinner, and is on the way home. Like, it's not like she's out at 3 a.m, just randomly wandering through parks in the dark. Even then, like, still.
Yeah, well, even if she is, why aren't men being taught not to treat women this way? Mm-hmm. It's not the woman's fault. That's what I don't understand. So it is. We have come a long way, but there's still a way to go.
Yeah, there's definitely still people that just don't get it.
Yes, 100%. But that documentary definitely was really good. I definitely enjoyed it.
Even with, did you see that shooting in America recently with the guy that went to the riots with the assault rifle?
To be honest, I haven't been watching the news because the news for me is so depressing at the moment.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding it.
So there was this, I think he's like 17-year-old, there was a riot in Mississippi or Missouri or something, and it was all over like the Black Lives Matter sort of stuff. And then this white kid with an assault rifle travels across state lines to go there and help bring peace, ends up shooting 2 people, and then the police chief was like, oh, well, if these people weren't out after the curfew, this probably wouldn't have happened. I'm like, bro, he shot 2 people in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, what the
hell?
What
are you doing? It's not their fault. He's the psychopath that came across state lines just to go out hunting people, basically.
Exactly. And that's the person that we should blame and put anger towards, not the people that are victims.
On a brighter note, I finally checked out The Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron and Zendaya.
Finally! Yes. I love that music. I loved it. It was good.
I hadn't seen it. It was only because it sort of popped up on Disney Plus this week. I was like, I've heard so much about this. I need to check it out.
Yeah. See, I liked it. I wish Zac Efron took his shirt off, but it's like the one movie he doesn't do it. But it was good.
It's because it's a PG family kids movie. It doesn't...
Oh, I know. But if you got Zac Efron in there...
Zac doesn't need to get his shirt off all the time.
Well, I disagree.
He gets it off enough.
No, I disagree. He should take it off.
Zac just should be permanently shirtless, is what you're saying?
That's right. I would not complain.
Terrible.
But Hugh Jackman's great in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
Even, like, Zendaya has a much bigger role than I expected her to as well.
She does, actually, yeah.
Like, I was expecting it to be pretty much all Hugh, which it largely is, but then Zac has a big part as well, and then she had way more role than I expected.
Yeah. Great songs. Great musical numbers.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it focuses on the famous circus man P.T. Barnum and how his circus sort of came to be. And it's got all the flashy spectacle of the music and the choreography.
It's about a lot of people that don't fit in, hey, finding their place. There's a good message.
Yeah, so like Barnum was obviously criticised for profiteering off people with disabilities and conditions and stuff, but like they say in the show, that the movie, they found a home at the circus. Like, they had a family of people that were all supportive of each other that they'd never even had in their own like biological families.
Yes.
Especially like way back then, as soon as someone was different, they was like, oh, there's something wrong with this person.
Yeah. It's a good message.
I found it a bit shallow. It was kind of just all flash and no substance a little bit.
Don't you think a lot of musicals are like that, though? In general, a lot of them are about the flash rather than, power.
True, but I think having watched Hamilton recently, that kind of has spoiled it for me. Like, that is an incredible show.
Yes. I actually haven't watched Hamilton. I haven't watched it yet, but I need to.
Yeah, you can watch it now. It's on Disney Plus. That's where I watched it. It's
perfect.
Awesome.
I'll definitely be putting that on the list after we've moved in.
Yeah, I've since watching it, I have the playlist saved on Spotify, and I'm constantly just been like
listening.
You know what I want to listen to? I just want to listen to the Hamilton soundtrack again.
Wow, that must be good. I didn't pick you for a musical man.
I don't mind them, but yeah, this one just the way the music is, it's not like with Hamilton, the music's not typical musical stuff. It's not like big orchestras and stuff. It's orchestras but influenced by hip hop.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it sort of caught me. It's got rap elements in there as well. That I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting, but it's got me.
Yeah. It's like when Sean and I went and watched The Book of Mormon.
Mm.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, that's another one where you're like, whoa. This isn't what I expected, but...
It was definitely not what I expected, but it was amazing. I will never forget that.
Yeah, we probably should have seen that coming with that one, though, being the South Park creators.
Yeah, but you know what? You're sitting there and you're like, I know it's going to be funny and I know it's going to be inappropriate, but then you sit there and you go, oh, this is really inappropriate.
Yeah, when I went to see it with work, there was like your typical musical crowd, some of the older ladies and stuff in there, and I was like, oh, they are
not going to like this.
They are not liking this. You just see them on their face, was like, what is this? This is terrible.
Yeah. We saw it in New York and it was bloody incredible, but yes, very rude. Very rude.
And Hamilton's coming to Australia next year, so
good. Hopefully COVID's over and we can...
Got my fingers crossed.
Yeah. Hopefully we can go and see it.
Well, I think it was meant to be in Victoria and they've shifted it to Sydney because of everything.
Poor Harry Potter. Harry Potter was down there. And they're all shut down. Glad I saw that before it closed.
Was that good?
Amazing. You know what? I'm a massive fan of Harry Potter, so you know that my expectations were very high. And it was the best thing I've ever seen. Just like their stage effects. One of the things, they did like a time warp. And the whole stage looked like it like warped.
Ooh.
It was ridiculous. It like moved. When they had this rotating stage, they could do like slow-mo walks on it. So like it was like pure magic. It was amazing. I loved it.
What did you think of it? It's split into 2 parts, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can do like the 2 parts over one day, or you can do it a day and then wait and do it another day. Like you know what I mean? Like a day in between. And we went a day in between. I'm glad we did because I felt like I would have just couldn't sit there for that long because it's a really long show. Like each show was 3.5 hours. So I did 3.5 hours on one day and 3.5 hours on the other. But the whole time I was just on the edge of my seat. It was just amazing. The way that they used like all the production elements. One stage they had the whole theatre just graffitied with. They had a moving train. It was awesome. Although, if you didn't read all of the Harry Potter books or you haven't watched all of the movies, there is some things that you're a bit lost on.
You'd miss bits.
Yeah, like the storyline's really interesting how it all connects. But I think if you weren't clued on, you'd be a little bit like...
Yeah, watching 7 hours back to back would be pretty rough though.
100%. I don't think I could do that.
Like that's a big day.
I just remember having to be like, okay, I'm not going to drink too much champagne because I don't want to go to the bathroom because I'll miss something.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 1 glass. That's it.
That was my problem with Tenet on the weekend.
Right.
I got the large combo, so I had the massive popcorn. I was like, yep, I need the massive popcorn to get through 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Came with the large Coke. I think I got about halfway through. I was like, I need to stop drinking this Coke or I'm not going to make it. And I got to about,
yes.
about 35, 40 minutes left. And I was just sitting there going, oh no.
Oh no. And you don't want to leave.
Especially with that movie, if you leave for anything, you're going to be so lost. So I just had to sit there and be like, oh, this sucks.
Won't do that again then.
Yeah. If you're going to go to that one, maybe skip the drink.
Right. Oh dear.
What else have you checked out this week?
Beyonce. Black is King.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I've been watching. I watched it this morning, and I love Beyonce. Like, she's my queen. I'm obsessed with her. I have to admit, there was some times that I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. But visually, it was beautiful. Have you seen it?
No, I'm still unsure of exactly what it is.
Look,
is it like a fashion show or like a musical or?
Well, she would have spent so much money on it. It is a musical with some sort of speaking in between. And there's a little bit of a connection between The Lion King. She talks about a young boy whose name's Simba, who goes through these things. Basically, my interpretation of it was she was talking about being black and how you are taught that you are a certain way, but you don't have to believe what people say about you. You can make up your own mind. And kings don't just accept information and move on, or they don't ignore what's going on. They take it on and they change things for the better. So she's basically talking to the African American community and saying, accept who you are and find ways to better yourself.
Okay.
That's my interpretation.
Yep.
But it's just beautiful. They're in this big mansion, the costumes, the makeup. It's actually really visually impressive. The music's good. But yeah, there's definitely some bits where you go, huh? I'm not sure what's going on. But then it comes back.
This is too metaphorical, Beyonce. You've lost me.
Yeah. I'd love to pick her brain and be like, what was going on here?
Yeah, get her to break down scene by scene, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, Jay-Z's in it. He turns up. He's baller as. It's pretty interesting. He's on a chess piece, and there's all these connections between black and white, and Blue Ivy sings in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that that has to almost be her debut performance?
Pretty much. She's not a very good singer, but she's cute.
That's a shame, given her parents.
I know. Well, I was like,
what a dud.
Maybe it's authentic. They haven't how they always edit it a little bit. It sounded like it wasn't unedited. It was unedited. Sorry.
Okay, so they haven't done any sort of auto tune or anything to her. They've just left her natural.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. Which I think that's cute.
They might be trying not to push her as well. They probably haven't.
Yeah, exactly.
Pushed her into singing lessons or anything.
Yeah. With
her parents, you could easily see her.
That's right. They want her to love it. Well, hopefully. But yeah, it was. I definitely would recommend it because I love Beyonce and I think she's amazing, and the way she puts everything together is incredible. And I'm a dance teacher, so I'm oh my God, I want that costume. I want this. I like that movement. So it was really interesting to watch. But yeah, just be prepared. You got to push through. There are some moments.
No shock that the music is top notch, though, given the people behind it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure her and Jay-Z could have just went to a room and did it themselves and it would have been incredible.
Exactly. It looks like they just hung out at this massive house. That's what it looks like in the clip. It's beautiful. It was really good to watch.
So for me, the other one I watched is watched a movie called Mid-90s, directed and written by Jonah Hill.
Mm-hmm. Funny or not?
No, it's a really dramatic movie. So it's about a 13-year-old boy sort of discovering who he is, and it's all built around sort of skateboard culture. So he's this 13-year-old hanging out with obviously the older kids during the 90s in LA.
Okay.
like really sort of honest movie, like felt super realistic, like it could have just been filmed by a bunch of kids with handheld cameras.
Okay.
Really made me think of my brother. Like,
oh, really?
Watching it, it's been like, this is so the experience my brother had.
Right. So what does it deal with? Like, what kind of issues?
Just like everything like a 13-year-old would go through, like being in the skateboard thing. Like the kids like smoke, and then he starts smoking, and then the kids drink, so he has a drink, and then he's at parties and stuff, and it's like, you are way too young to be at this party. What is going on here?
Yeah, but it's just like the culture they're in.
Yeah, and then just, like skating around, and like he just starts to understand that who he is and what he enjoys and stuff, and then just pretty much like nothing crazy happens. Like,
right.
I think there is a car accident, which is a bit ridiculous, but
okay.
Yeah, just regular.
A look into that world.
Yeah, definitely didn't feel over the top at all. It was just,
okay,
let's go skating. Let's do dumb stuff. Like,
dumb stuff.
Try and jump over this gap and get absolutely munched when they don't make it and stuff like that.
Not know how they do that.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a movie for everybody. Like, you really sort of need to have that connection to somebody that likes skateboarding, or you have to like skateboarding.
Like, if I sat down and watched it, I'd be like, what is going on?
I think you'd understand what's going on, but you'd be bored.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty just mellow and natural, like, no
like
peaks
very
or valleys.
real.
It's just like, meh, this is what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the other thing I checked out, it has just started on Foxtel, is the series called Lovecraft Country.
Okay. Interesting. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I don't think this one's for you though.
Okay. What's it about?
It's a supernatural horror series.
No. I love true crime, but anything that's scary, not about it.
Yep. So it follows Atticus Freeman, who's this young black man who, alongside his uncle George and his friend Letitia, they travel across the US during the 1950s, like when segregation was still happening.
Yeah.
And they're searching for Atticus's missing father.
Okay.
And then, like along the way, they encounter like racism, obviously. Mm-hmm. But then there's these supernatural elements that come in with crazy monsters, and it's inspired by the H.P. Lovecraft novels, so they're pretty over-the-top, dramatic and wacky novels. But I think by combining the like important political stuff with the racism, with the flashy supernatural stuff, it makes it like a really compelling story. Like, you kind of like, you're trying to work out, are these people racist or are they some sort of crazy supernatural thing?
Okay, so it's like compelling rather than like, what the heck is going on?
Yep.
Okay.
It's not overly scary. Like, there are, in the first episode, there's a few jump scares, but it's nothing. Yeah. I was like, oh, I was never creeped out. I was kind of just intrigued the whole time about what the heck is going on.
Right. There's a thinker.
There's only been 2 episodes so far, but I'm enjoying it at this point.
Okay.
Started to sort of, by the end of the second episode, you start to see, okay, this is where this is heading. This is what's going on.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll get weirder.
Knowing Lovecraft novels, it's going to get very weird.
Okay. We'll have an update on that in a couple of weeks then.
Yeah, but it's giving me like, did you ever watch Supernatural?
Little bits at a time, like not religiously. I've seen like a couple of episodes, but
yeah, so it's kind of like that, where it's a little bit creepy, but nothing too crazy, and it's just got a bit more of a deeper story than what Supernatural had.
Yes, obviously. I mean, it's crazy that segregation only happened not that long ago.
Like 70 years.
Yeah, I try and explain that to my kids. They don't understand. They don't get it. They weren't born, so they don't understand, or they don't have value to it. But I'm like, yeah, There used to be white schools, there used to be black schools, and
Yeah, like it's really not that long ago. Like there is people still alive that
yes,
experience that.
100%, and that's why this like whole thing needs to change. But people are like, oh look, we're not like that now, so we just have to forget about it. But it's hard to forget about your past when it was so traumatic.
Yeah, like it's not like sort of World War One where there's no living people to talk about their experiences anymore.
Yeah.
It's 70 years. Like if people were kids then, they still know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were abused because they went into the wrong part of a school or they drank from the wrong water bubbler and stuff.
Exactly.
Like crazy stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, that's sort of, I think with Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the actor passed away yesterday?
I did see that on Facebook today.
Pretty sad, but
yeah,
at least his movie sort of gave African American like kids nowadays, he gave them that superhero role model that seemed to just go crazy there when that movie came out.
Yeah.
So it's good that they now have people to look up to like that.
Well, we need to see more movies with people of mixed race, don't we? Because Hollywood isn't that diverse.
Yeah, Hollywood's very white.
Yeah, 100%. And we need to make it change.
And it's very, like, male too. Like, there's very
few
women that have, like, roles like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to change. I mean, with Charlie's Angels and stuff, they tried to revoke that. But, yeah, there's just some things that I just don't agree with still. But it's okay. We'll get there.
Well, we've got Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and she seems to be doing an awesome job in that role.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was pretty awesome.
And who else is there? I guess there's Margot Robbie doing Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Which is another one, but then that's a hard one too, because it's a big role, but it's also like a pretty sexualized role.
Well, yeah, she's abused by her partner, and she's obsessed with him. Yeah, it is hard.
Like, yeah, she's featured prominently, but it's kind of like...
Not in a positive way.
Can we make her a more positive person, please?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any other major female roles like that.
Not like that. I mean, yeah, there's lots of female actresses, but like in terms of like important roles, there's not that many.
Well, especially like roles that continue. Like you see women get leading roles in movies that are one-offs, but they never seem to get franchises.
Yes.
Like I would be interested to see the next James Bond. Like Daniel Craig, I think is either finished or finishing soon. Whether they go, there's been talk of them doing a black Bond or a female Bond.
Oh, I thought that was about female. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
They've been talking about changing it up, so it'll be interesting to see if they go that route with the next one.
Yeah, let's hope.
Like, that'll be a huge, dramatic change for that series.
Yes. It'd be very interesting to see if they do it, how they do it.
In the trailer for the newest one, there is another 00 agent who is a black woman.
Right.
So I wonder if that's kind of them hinting at it maybe, or testing the waters to see how people react to it.
Yeah. I mean, I hope people will wake up soon and just go, yep, let's go with it. Yeah,
exactly. Like, if a person fits the role, they fit the role. It doesn't matter who they are or what they look like. With one of the most recent PlayStation 4 exclusives, The Last of Us, I remember one of the characters, the director said there was an actor that he didn't want because she's been a major character in so many games recently.
Right.
But then when they put her audition tape in front of him, he was like, damn it, she fits.
She's great.
Like, he specifically went in there not wanting to use her, and she just killed it.
Blew him out of the water. Yeah.
Fine, you're in.
That's it. You're it.
So that's what it should be. It shouldn't be like, okay, we specifically want this person.
That's exactly right. If you're perfect for a role, yeah.
Or this type of person, but then if somebody comes in and goes, oh, wow, that's a totally different take on it that works better. Let's go with that.
That's right. Pick the right choice.
So what would be your top recommendation for the week?
My top recommendation would definitely be I'll Be Gone in the Dark. You should check it out.
I agree. That was my favourite one this week as well. So thank you for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review and subscribe on iTunes. You can follow me on social media at JamieAppsMedia, and you can follow Leah on Instagram at l.poulton, Poulton. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine Jam Zine over on Patreon at patreon.com/JamieAppsMedia. The following people supported at the Jam publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Tracy Apps.